One of the most important things you remember about a baseball player is their jersey number. When you think of Derek Jeter, you think of number 2, Albert Pujols, number 5, and Jackie Robinson, number 42. So in this video, I'm going to rank the best player from every jersey number. This video is a video I've been wanting to film for a long time. It sounds fun, and it was a lot of fun looking up every single player, determining the best player from every number. If you're new to my channel, I am just really starting to get into more of these types of videos. I think they're just so great to make, and I hope you enjoy.
It just don't make a difference. I'm just talking shit to the ones that listen. I can with the heat, man, I swear I'm never missing. And I'm still the same.
We have 100 numbers to get into, so let's get going. Getting it started with the number 0, we have Chicago Cubs starting pitcher Marcus Stroman. Marcus Stroman was so good at the beginning of the season. Unfortunately, at the second half, he dealt with some injuries. His final stats on the year were 3.95 ERA, 119 strikeouts, and 136.2 innings pitched. Moving on to the number 1. There's a couple good choices for number 1, but I think the clear and obvious one was Ozzie Albies from the Atlanta Braves. It seems like every single player from the Atlanta Braves is having a phenomenal season. He is a switch hitter. He has a 4.7 WAR, 33 home runs, and that's from both sides of the plate, a 280 batting average. This guy has been killer, and I think he's been one of the best players at number 1 for quite some time now. Now let's get it started for the number 2. There were so many good options I could have put for number 2. Alex Bregman, Marcus Semien, Yandy Diaz, Gunnar Henderson, even Nico Horner could have slipped in there. But I put the best player from number 2, Marcus Semien. This guy has been on one this year. Marcus Semien has a 7.4 WAR, 29 home runs, a 276 batting average, 100 RBIs, and the guy just stays healthy. He's played in every single game this year. The guy stays healthy, and that is extremely valuable. So Marcus Semien is my pick for number 2. So now moving on to the best player wearing number 3. There's 2 guys that come to mind, Luis Arraez and Bryce Harper. I had to give it to Bryce Harper. For argument's sake, you could put Luis Arraez just because of his batting average alone. But when I think of all-around great player, I think of Bryce Harper. Bryce has a 3.7 WAR, 21 homers, a 293 batting average, 72 RBIs, and that's all him just playing in 126 games. He was injured for the beginning of the year and came back early while playing first base, which is a new position for him, so I have Bryce Harper being the best player at number 3. For number 4, there's a couple guys you could say, Ketel Marte, but I had to give it to the clear and obvious choice, Blake Snell. I mean, this guy's probably going to win the Cy Young this year. Blake Snell has a 6.0 WAR, a 2.25 ERA. Blake Snell has just truly been one of the best pitchers in the game this season, and that's why he's the best pick wearing number 4. Moving on to number 5, there are 2 guys that come to mind, Freddie Freeman and Corey Seager. And you look at a season like Freddie Freeman is having, and he's not who I'm picking. Wow, Corey Seager has just been that good this year. He has a 6.9 WAR, 33 homers, a 327 batting average, 96 RBIs. Oh my god, dude. And that is all only playing in 119 games. And a league-leading 42 doubles. And if it weren't for Shohei Ohtani, Corey Seager would definitely be up there in the AL MVP voting. Moving on to number 6, 2 players, Ryan Mountcastle and Josh Young, or Josh Young. I don't know how you pronounce it. My pick is Josh Young. 2.4 WAR, not bad. A 266 batting average, 23 home runs, 70 RBIs. He is my pick wearing number 6. Moving on to the best player wearing number 7. This one was so difficult for me. You could make an argument on all 3 players I'm about to mention. Corbin Carroll, Trey Turner, Bobby Witt Jr. I went back and forth about who had the better season wearing number 7. I mean, Corbin Carroll's probably going to win Rookie of the Year. And that is exactly why he is my pick for the best player wearing number 7. I absolutely love Corbin Carroll. 5.4 WAR, 25 home runs, a 285 batting average, 76 RBIs, 54 stolen bases. He made his first All-Star appearance. He was a big reason as to why the Arizona Diamondbacks made the playoffs. So that is why he is my pick for the best player wearing number 7. For number 8, we got 2 players, Nick Castellanos and Ian Happ. Last year, I probably would have chosen Ian Happ. This year was a tad bit of a down year, so that's why we're choosing Nick Castellanos. I absolutely love this guy playing for the Phillies. 272 batting average, hitting 29 homers with 106 RBIs. He got his second All-Star nod, and I think he is the best player wearing number 8. Moving on to the best player wearing number 9, we have Brandon Nimmo. He was the clear and obvious choice with a 4 WAR, a 274 batting average, hitting 24 homers. For the best player wearing number 10, 2 players, Brian Reynolds, JT Realmuto. Realmuto has had a kind of a down year this season while still being good, but my pick is Brian Reynolds. This guy hit 24 homers with a 263 batting average, 84 RBIs, so that's why he's my pick for the best player wearing number 10. Moving on to the best player wearing number 11, I have a couple players. You could put Rafael Devers, but my clear and obvious pick was Bo Bichette on the Toronto Blue Jays. This guy has been a stud this season. A 4.8 WAR, 20 homers, 306 batting average, 73 RBIs, a 475 slug, and an 814 OPS. Those are pretty good numbers. So for that, he is my pick at best player wearing number 11. Moving on to number 12, I picked Francisco Lindor. I only had one other option that I would select, and Francisco Lindor just beat him in all those categories. With a 6 WAR, 31 home runs, a 254 batting average, 98 RBIs, while stealing 31 bags. And I know bases are bigger this season, but it's still impressive. So for that, because I need to speed up this list, he's the best player at number 12. Moving on to the best player wearing number 13, two clear and obvious options, Manny Machado and Ronald Acuna Jr. The obvious choice is Ronald Acuna Jr., most likely to win NL MVP this season. I cannot express this. An 8.1 WAR, 41 home runs with a 337 batting average, and stealing 73 bags, and a 1012 OPS. These numbers are 100% MVP type numbers, and that is why he's my pick for the best player wearing number 13. For the best player wearing number 14, surprisingly not too many options. And that is why Brian De La Cruz from the Miami Marlins is my pick. He actually has a negative 0.3 WAR, which, you know, that sucks, but he hit 19 homers with 257 batting average, 78 RBIs, that's why he's my pick. There weren't that many options. For the best player wearing number 15, I picked Josh Lau from the Tampa Bay Rays. He was rocking a 3.7 WAR, 20 homers, 292 batting average, and he stole 32 bags this season, 83 RBIs, and that is why he is my pick for the best player wearing number 15. Moving on to the best player wearing number 16, there's only one guy that came to my mind, and that was Will Smith from the Los Angeles Dodgers. He has continued to prove that he is a top 3 catcher in the MLB with a 4.1 WAR, hitting 19 homers, and a 261 batting average. And that is with him missing some games due to injuries in the beginning of the season, but that's why he was my clear and obvious pick. Moving on to number 17, there's one guy and one guy only, and that is the GOAT, Shohei Ohtani. He even ended his season 2 to 3 weeks early, and he's still probably an MVP candidate. I mean, come on. It is so unfortunate that, he most likely will not be pitching in the year 2024, but his bat still gets him to where he needs to be. I think if you're watching this and you're a baseball fan, you know of Shohei Ohtani, but let me still read you these stats. A 10 WAR, 44 home runs, a 304 batting average, he stole a solid 20 bags, and don't count out those 95 RBIs and 102 runs. And let's just talk about the pitching side of things too. He started in 23 games with a 3.14 ERA, pitching 132 innings, and having a whip at 10.61. Yeah, he is most likely your AL MVP. So moving on to number 18, my pick is Tampa Bay Rays' Shane McClanahan. I do believe he was injured the end of the season, but looking at his stats, he was still the clear and obvious pick. While he was healthy, he was 11-2, a 3.29 ERA, pretty solid for the best player wearing number 18. Moving on to number 19, I picked St. Louis Cardinals' Tommy Edman. There weren't too many impressive players wearing the number 19 this year, but Tommy Edman still put up some decent numbers. A 2 WAR, 13 homers. He's never really been a big home run guy. 248 batting average. He stole 27 bags. So again, not too many options wearing number 19, but Tommy Edman made a solid campaign. Moving on to the best player wearing number 20. I have Big Meat Pete Alonso, the polar bear. He is the best player wearing number 20. I apologize for all those nicknames, but that's what I've heard Mets fans call him. A 3.2 WAR, pretty good 46 home runs, 217 batting average. He had the second most RBIs this season with 118. That is pretty impressive, with a 504 slug and an 821 OPS. So yeah, Pete Alonso's my pick. The only other player I could have seen choosing was Tyler Glasnow, but had to pick Pete Alonso. Moving on to the best player wearing number 21, I have Max Scherzer. I'm pretty sure he is injured ending this season, but he did start in 27 games with a 3.77 ERA. So for the best player wearing number 21, I have Max Scherzer. Moving on to the best player wearing number 22, we got 3 options: Clayton Kershaw, Christian Yelich, and Juan Soto. I'm giving it to the clear and obvious choice, Juan Soto. It's crazy how all these Padres players have been so phenomenal this season, and yet they were still one of the most disappointing teams in all of baseball this season. But Juan Soto with a 5.6 WAR, 35 homers, and a 275 batting average, yeah, he's just doing his Juan Soto thing, and that is why he was my pick. Moving on to the best player wearing number 23, 2 players, Fernando Tatis Jr. and Zach Gallen. And this season, I had to pick Zach Gallen. For a while, this guy was definitely an NL Cy Young favorite. Not so sure right now, but that does not dismiss the fact of how good he has been this season. He has a win-lose record of 17-9, a 3.47 ERA, starting in 34 games, 210 innings pitched. Can't forget those strikeouts. Those are my favorite. 220 of them. That is why Zach Gallen is my pick. Moving on to the best player wearing number 24, I got my Chicago Cubs player, Cody Bellinger. This guy signed with the Cubs last offseason in a 1-year prove-it-all deal, and wow did he prove himself again. He has a 4.4 WAR, hit 26 homers with a 307 batting average, 97 RBIs, a 525 slug, and an 881 OPS. He was one of the big reasons the Cubs made it as far as they did, just fell short of the playoffs. Moving on to the best player wearing number 25, I have Gleyber Torres, the New York Yankees. Surprisingly, sometimes you look at numbers and I think, oh, this number's stacked. But the best player I could find was Gleyber Torres. But I think he's still very deserving of it. Hitting 25 homers, a 273 batting average, 68 RBIs, so that is why he is my pick for the best player wearing number 25. Moving on, number 26, I picked Max Kepler from the Minnesota Twins. Kepler hit 24 homers with a 260 batting average, 66 RBIs. He made a nice little campaign for himself, and I think he was a big reason as to why the Twins were so good. Moving on to the best player wearing number 27, this number is quite stacked. You got who has been one of the best players in baseball the last decade, Mike Trout. Another candidate for this number is Vlad Guerrero Jr. Seiya Suzuki put up some good numbers, Austin Riley of the Atlanta Braves, and even Jose Altuve. But for this number, I hate to do it. You can make an argument for either of these two. I'm gonna have to give it to Austin Riley. If Mike Trout just, can stay on the field, it's 100% his. I mean, this guy is so good. A 5.9 WAR, 37 homers, a 281 batting average, 97 RBIs, the list goes on and on. He's the best player wearing number 27. Moving on to number 28, there's a couple. Nolan Arenado, Matt Olson. The clear and obvious choice is home run league leader, Matt Olson. You're gonna see this trend a lot. The Atlanta Braves, with a 7.4 WAR, 54 home runs, 139 RBIs, which does lead the league. And he's definitely in the top 5 NL MVP candidate if it weren't for his teammate, Ronald Acuna Jr. For the best player wearing number 29, I have Tariq Skubal. He hasn't been all that bad, with a 2.80 ERA, having 80 innings pitched, a whip at .896. Those are some pretty good numbers, and that's why, out of all the little list of players wearing number 29, he came in the best one. Coming in for the best player wearing number 30, we have Kyle Tucker. 5.4 WAR, 29 homers, 284 batting average. I have to start keeping these lists short and sweet, but he is my pick for the best player wearing number 30. Moving on to number 31, I have Philadelphia Phillies pitcher, or closer, Craig Kimbrell. Posting 23 saves with a 3.26 ERA. Moving on to number 32, I picked Ryan O'Hearn. Again, we are starting to get to some of the numbers. There's just not so many stacked great players there. But Ryan O'Hearn did put up 14 homers with a solid 289 batting average. But he is my pick for the best player wearing number 32. Moving on to number 33, I have Los Angeles Dodger James Outman. He hit 23 homers with them with a 3.3 WAR. He's definitely been a good solid player for the Dodgers this season. Moving on to number 34, two players, Kevin Gausman and Kodai Senga. I picked Kodai Senga. I mean, this guy has been amazing for the Mets. A 4.5 WAR, but posting a solid 2.98 ERA. So that's why he is the best player wearing number 34. Moving on to number 35. Two players that come to mind. I may get a little hate for this, just maybe. We have Adley Rutschman and Justin Steele. I'm gonna have to give it to Justin Steele, and that could be a bit of my biased opinion, but looking at the numbers, this guy came out and just shoved this season. A couple rough starts to decay his numbers a bit, but still put up a solid 3.8 WAR, a win-lose record at 16-5 with a 3.06 ERA. Adley Rutschman, he was right there. You ask any other person, maybe he's your pick. But a biased Cubs fan, I just wanted to give Justin Steele credit when credit was due, and that's why he is my pick for the best player wearing number 35. Moving on to number 36, I have Seattle Mariners pitcher Logan Gilbert. This guy put up a solid 3.73 ERA with a 10.75 whip. This guy has been pretty solid for them, and that's why he is my pick at number 36. Coming in at number 37, we have Arizona Diamondbacks Kevin Ginkel. Not too many players wearing the number 37 that were worthy of this pick, but when I was looking them up, I was quite surprised by this guy. Relief pitcher for the Diamondbacks, a 2.48 ERA, pitching in 65 innings, Coming in for the best player wearing number 38, I have Milwaukee Brewers' Devin Williams. I mean, this guy has been one of the best relief pitchers, closers for a minute. A 2.6 WAR, a very good 1.53 ERA, and a solid 36 saves. He is my pick for the best player wearing number 38. Coming in at 39, we have another Milwaukee Brewers pitcher, Corbin Burnes. I mean, this guy had won a Cy Young just 2 years ago. He has a solid 3.39 ERA and a whip at 1069. Corbin Burnes still continues to put up great numbers. Coming in at number 40, we have St. Louis Cardinals catcher Willson Contreras. Willson Contreras was one of the best offensive catchers last season. This year slowed down just a little bit, but playing for a new team can do that for you. But Willson Contreras still put up solid offensive catcher numbers, hitting 20 homers, a solid 3.4 WAR. Coming in at number 41, I have Wilmer Flores from the San Francisco Giants. Not too many crazy players with this number, but Flores still makes a good name for himself, hitting 284 with 23 homers. Moving on to 42, the one and only Jackie Robinson. Moving on to number 43, we have Ryan Borucki from the Pittsburgh Pirates. He was actually a surprising player for me. A 2.45 ERA, pitching in 40 innings. Moving on to number 44, two players, Julio Rodriguez and Yordan Alvarez. My pick is Yordan Alvarez. Even with this guy being injured for part of the season, he still put up amazing numbers. A 4.5 WAR, 31 homers, and 97 RBIs. And that's all while only playing in 114 games this season. Moving on to number 45, we have Philadelphia Phillies pitcher Zach Wheeler. Okay, quick interruption. This is not my setup. I'm currently in the middle of editing this video and realized I made a huge mistake. I totally skipped past Garrett Cole, so let me continue the right way. Coming in at number 45, we have New York Yankees starting pitcher Garrett Cole. Garrett Cole is clearly the obvious best player wearing number 45. He's also the AL Cy Young favorite, and I can't believe I skipped over him. Putting up a 7.5 WAR, win-lose record at 15-4, and a 2.63 ERA, and a whip at 0.981 with 222 strikeouts. Adding that he stayed healthy the whole season, Garrett Cole by far is the best player wearing number 45. Alright, back to your scheduled programming. Moving on to number 46, I have St. Louis Cardinals player Paul Goldschmidt. This guy won an MVP in 2022 while hitting 25 home runs. Obviously not as good as his MVP season, but that would be hard to repeat. Coming in at number 47, we have Tampa Bay Rays pitcher Jason Adam. With a 2.98 ERA, pitching in 54.1 innings, this guy has been pretty solid, and that's why he is my pick. Coming in at number 48, we have Brusdar Graterol with a 1.20 ERA with 67.1 innings pitched, and that is why he is my pick for the best player wearing number 48. Moving on to 49, we have Minnesota Twins pitcher Pablo Lopez. This guy got his first All-Star nod this season while throwing a 3.66 ERA, and that is why he's my pick for 49. Coming in for the best player wearing number 50, it's the clear and obvious choice, Mookie Betts. I mean, this guy would be the MVP if it weren't for Ronald Acuna. Numbers like a 307 batting average, a career-high 39 homers, with an 8.4 WAR, Mookie Betts just continues to be one of the best players in MLB. Coming in at number 51, we have David Bednar from the Pittsburgh Pirates. This guy got his second All-Star nod this season. I mean, really good numbers if you count a 2.00 ERA, pitching in 67 innings. So getting it started for the second half is number 52, Jordan Montgomery. This guy has still put up some pretty decent solid numbers this year with a 3.20 ERA, so he's the best player for number 52. Coming in at number 54, I have Christian Walker from the Arizona Diamondbacks. This guy hit 33 home runs this year. He was the clear and obvious choice. Coming in for the next number at 54, I have two options, Max Fried and Sonny Gray. If Max Fried was healthy for most of the season, it probably would have been him, but the clear and obvious choice is Sonny Gray. With a 2.79 ERA, a 5.3 WAR, and that is why he is my pick at number 54. Moving on to number 55, we have Atlanta Braves pitcher Bryce Elder. This guy, for most of the season, led the league in ERA. Towards the end of the year, had some struggles with keeping that down. His ERA did raise to a 3.81, but he has remained healthy this year and has been a good starting pitcher for the Atlanta Braves. Coming in at number 56, we have Tampa Bay Rays player Randy Arozarena. This guy is so much fun to watch, hitting 23 home runs this year with a 2.54 batting average. He did get his first All-Star nod this season. Coming in at number 57, we have Cleveland Guardians pitcher Shane Bieber. Bieber has still been struggling with some injuries this year and the last. He did pitch in 21 games though, but did throw a 3.80 ERA, but he is still the best player at number 57. Coming in for 58, we have Luis Castillo. This guy has still been very solid. A 3.34 ERA, a win-lose record at 14-9. This guy has been great for the Seattle Mariners, and that is why he is the best player wearing number 58. Coming in at number 59, we have Framber Valdez from the Houston Astros. This guy has a 3.45 ERA, starting in 31 games. He is my pick for the best player wearing number 59. Just took a short break, but coming back to the best player from number 60 is Jesse Chavez. Not too many players to pick from, but this guy has a 1.56 ERA. Moving on to the best player at number 61 is Nick Anderson. He has a 3.06 ERA. He's pitched in only 35 innings. Again, we're starting to get to the numbers where there's not too many players to pick from. But coming in for the best player at 62 is San Francisco Giants player Logan Webb. This guy actually has been pretty solid this season with a 3.25 ERA, a 5.6 WAR, 216 innings pitched with 194 strikeouts, so he is my best pick for number 62. Coming in for the best player at number 63 is Nick Ramirez from the New York Yankees. He recorded a 2.66 ERA and 40 innings pitched. Coming in at number 64, we have Los Angeles Dodgers pitcher Caleb Ferguson. He recorded a 3.43 ERA, pitching in 60 innings. Coming in at number 65, we have Jack Suwinski from the Pittsburgh Pirates. His batting average is a little bit low at 224, but he did crush 26 homers. Next, coming in at number 66, we have Tanner Scott from the Miami Marlins. He recorded a 2.31 ERA, which is pretty good. He had a whip at .987. Next, coming in at number 67, we have Seth Lugo. ERA at 3.57. He pitched in 146 innings. Pretty solid. That's why he's my pick at number 67. Coming in at number 68, we have George Kirby from the Seattle Mariners. He had a 3.35 ERA with a 3.9 WAR with 190 innings pitched. He was pretty good. He stayed healthy. He was very valuable for the Mariners. Moving on to number 69, there were only 2 players wearing this number this season. So my pick was Silvino Bracco. Never heard of this guy, not gonna lie to you. He is rocking a 3.68 ERA with only having pitched 7.1 innings. So we're not gonna highlight him too much, but he's really, the only player that I'm able to talk about with this number. Moving on to number 70, we have Bobby Miller from the Los Angeles Dodgers. This guy I definitely see being a huge stud down the road. He has a 3.76 ERA. I definitely think he's got a bright future ahead of him. We are 70% done with this list. Let's keep going. Coming in at number 71, we have one of the best closers in baseball, Josh Hader. This guy's seasons were absolutely incredible, putting up a 1.28 ERA, a 2.4 WAR as a closer, with 33 saves. This year was insane with the Padres. And I'll say it again, it's crazy how the Padres have so many key factors to their team and yet they missed out on the playoffs. Coming in at number 72, we have my Chicago Cubs pitcher, Javier Assad. I think Javier Assad definitely had a nice little rookie year, putting up a 3.01 ERA. He started 10 games and then became more of a reliever role for the Cubs. Coming in at number 73, another Chicago Cubs pitcher, Adbert Alzolay. He came up with the Cubs to be a starter, and then he was injured, and then he came back with the Cubs' so-called stacked starting rotation, and he took more on a closer role. He did pretty good with that closer role, recording 22 saves, a 2.67 ERA, but I hope next year he can come back strong and be the Cubs' top closer. Coming in at number 74, we have Felix Bautista from the Baltimore Orioles. He was a big reason as to why the Baltimore Orioles were able to lock down as many games as they did. He recorded a 1.48 ERA with 33 saves. It is so unfortunate that he had to end his season early because, man, he was having a really good campaign. Coming in at number 75, we have Seattle Mariners pitcher Andres Munoz. He pitched in 49 innings this season with a 2.94 ERA. Coming in for number 76, there were only 5 players to pick from, and I picked Pierce Johnson. You're going to tell by these numbers, I was kind of desperate. He had a 4.02 ERA while pitching in 62 innings. Not the best, but better than the others. Coming in at number 77, we have Luke Jackson from the San Francisco Giants. He was a really good relief pitcher for them this year, recording a 2.97 ERA, but having only pitched in 33 innings. Coming in at number 78, I was quite surprised by this player, Yennier Cano, putting up a 2.11 ERA with 60 holds and pitching in 72 innings this year. I was quite surprised by these numbers. And again, this just goes to show how dominant the Orioles bullpen was to help them lock down the games. Coming in at number 79, we're almost out of the 70s, we have Jose Abreu from the Houston Astros. This guy wasn't that great to begin the season, but ended up putting in nice solid numbers with a 2.37 batting average. It just goes to show that he's getting close to like 40 years old, so he was going to slow down at some point. 18 home runs, 128 hits, 90 RBIs, pretty solid. Coming in at number 80, we had 2 players to pick from, and I went with Emmett Sheehan. Never heard of him before, I'm not gonna lie to you. He put up a 4.92 ERA in 60 innings. Moving on to number 81, we have Victor Gonzalez from the Los Angeles Dodgers. Wasn't all that bad, but he did record a 4.01 ERA. Moving on to number 82, we have Randy Wynn. I'm not gonna highlight him at all. He pitched in 2.1 innings. That's it. Moving on to number 83, we have Seattle Mariners pitcher Brennan Bernardino. He put up a 3.20 ERA, pitched in a total of 50 innings. Moving on to number 84, finally a player worth talking about, Dylan Cease. He didn't have the greatest year like he did in prior years, but he's still a name people talk about. Moving on to number 85, we have Los Angeles Dodgers pitcher Dustin May. I couldn't quite remember if Dustin May even played this season. I'm so bad. But I did look, he did start in 9 games this year. He put up a 2.63 ERA. When he's healthy, he's gonna be good. So hopefully next year is his year. Coming in at number 86, we have Michael Marriott. He only pitched in 2 innings this season. He is the only player that did wear number 86 this season. Moving on. Moving on to a Detroit Tigers pitcher, Tyler Holton. He put up some solid numbers, pitching in 85 innings with a 2.11 ERA. Starting at number 88, we have Luis Robert Jr. He recorded his first All-Star nod this season, putting up numbers like a 2.64 batting average, 38 homers. Moving on to number 89, we have Yankees star Jason Dominguez. He got called up to have his big moment with the Yankees and them trying to make some playoff spots, and boom, he goes down with an injury. I feel so bad for the kid. He was gonna have his big moment. Played in, I don't even know, under 10 games. Moving on to number 90, we have Adam Simber from the Toronto Blue Jays. Having only pitched in 20 innings with a 7.40 ERA, we're not going to highlight on him too much, but he is the best player at number 90. Moving on to number 91, we have Ji-Man Choi from the Pittsburgh Pirates. Kind of having fallen off with a 1.63 batting average. There was 4 players in this category, and Ji-Man Choi was the best one. Moving on to number 92, from the St. Louis Cardinals, Genesis Cabrera. But because there are only 3 players to pick from, we're stuck with him right now. Moving on to number 93, we have Yimi Garcia. He wasn't horrible for the Toronto Blue Jays. He has a 4.09 ERA. Moving on to numbers 94, we have from the New York Yankees, Yoandris Gomez. He pitched in 2 innings this season, so we're not going to highlight him at all. He literally has no stats. He has a 0.1 WAR. He played in 1 game, so yeah. He's the only player at that number. Coming in at number 95, we have Oswaldo Cabrera for the New York Yankees. He put up a 2.11 batting average. Moving on to number 96. Fun fact, 96 was the only number not worn by anyone in the MLB this season. Moving on to number 97, another Yankee player, Ron Marinencio. He put up a 3.99 ERA. Having pitched in 47 innings, we have 2 left. Coming in at number 98, another New York Yankees player. They must love these high numbers. We have pitcher Randy Vasquez for the New York Yankees, putting up a 2.87 ERA and 37 innings pitched with a whip at 1.274. We have finally made it to the last number worn in MLB. We got 2 solid options here, Spencer Strider and Aaron Judge. It's gonna have to go to the man, Aaron Judge. I mean, this guy has been one of the best in baseball for the last couple seasons. Unfortunately, he did deal with some injuries this year, but he does not shy away from great numbers, having a 2.67 batting average, crushing 37 bombs, 613 slug, a 1019 OPS, and that was all while playing in 106 games. I mean, he broke the home run AL record last year with 62. So there you have it. We finished ranking the best players at every single number. This took a long time for me to prep, so if you guys could give it a big like, that would mean so much to me. So leave your comments down below of your opinions. Who did I miss? But yeah, so thank you guys so much for watching this video. Links to all of my socials down below. Go follow those, comment. I definitely plan to make more videos like this. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Check back for the next one, and I'll see you next time. Peace.